Welcome back to Self Revelations. It's your boy B Dab.
And I'm Juan Moreno.
Juanavelli, how you been feeling? How's everything been going this past couple weeks?
Great, man. I've been feeling good. You know, just kind of we were talking about it a little bit earlier before we started recording that, you know, I'm feeling good. Like, I feel like I'm in my element. Like, everything is just getting together. Like, I feel like I've been building a brick wall, brick by brick, since I was like 16. Even though I was at that time still learning a lot and still reacting off of emotions and doing things that I didn't necessarily was a reflection of me, but the emotions and the way I handled things was the way I was doing it with either relationships, with any type of relationship. So it's not, I feel like sometimes we say relationship, it means, your girlfriend or like the girlfriends you had in the past. But it's like the relationship that you had with yourself and the relationship that you had that reflected yourself to others. So I believe that from when I was 16 to now, like that brick wall is coming together. Now I'm going to have to move to the other side, like build another brick wall. Like I feel like everything is just coming together. My leadership, my philosophies are like who I want to be is like starting to now become intact. Like part of me now. Like there was times where I wasn't patient, and now I'm becoming way more patient than I am now than before. The way I speak to people, the way I articulate myself, my terminology when it comes to communication is like now like has excelled to the point where I could articulate myself well, to the point where anybody could understand, and I can speak to somebody at any level within like language and not have any hiccups or get nervous. Like I'm just comfortable. I'm like in my own skin now, to the point where now it's kind of weird when you hear things like people saying, like I heard it today, like, oh, you're one of the best people I've ever known, or like your leadership, the way you are, the way you carry yourself, and you're open, like the stuff that you talk about, like you work your thoughts through people, like whatever. If I'm struggling with something, I speak it to people and try to figure out, like, is it truly how I feel or is it emotions in the way? And I work through a thought, and then I end up realizing that, oh, I was reacting off of emotion, or I'm being impatient, or like these same things that I wanted to work on when I was 16, those same thoughts that would trigger me are still there, but now the noise and me being in those thoughts have gotten lower and lower. So, and I'm able to like work through that. I could talk to anybody of like what I'm dealing with and ask them how they deal with it or what they feel. And I will adapt myself. That would make me figure out what I'm not seeing with conversation with people. So like my growth is like, it's just climbing. Like my momentum is just going. And I know like bad stuff is going to happen. It's inevitable. It's like part of life. That's kind of what makes you, and that's kind of life. Things happen. I don't like the look of, oh, life isn't fair. Like I just think life is life. Like whatever comes in front of you, you have to adapt and, you know, go through it. Like in order to, you know, get through it, you got to go through it. So I believe that like facing the man in the mirror, like deciding who I want to be, trying to be the best version of myself, doing it day by day, and being open to knowing that I'm not perfect and I'm working through these things has put me in this position that other people look at me at a higher level. But at the same time, I'm just like you. Like I literally struggle with the same shit you do. I might have a different approach, and I've, you know, tapped in with myself now more than ever. Yeah. So I think everything's just unfolding like perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. And everything's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. You know, you're going to deal with adversity in whatever field you're in. So I definitely, you know, commend you because, you know, when we first started this podcast and you were going through it and you were going through your emotions and stuff like that, you voiced how you were feeling, but you were still in grind mode. You know what I mean? And then when you went back to work, you were still grinding. You were still doing your thing. You were still doing the best you could do for your family at the time. So, you know, I can respect that in that instance, you know. And, you know, one thing I wanted to ask you, like what do you think is like tougher, like dealing with stuff when everything's going good or when everything's going bad?
That's great. Cause I was thinking about that like today at work. I was just driving, just like I felt just so good. Just like I don't know, like cause where I work at, it's like temperature controlled,
Mm.
so it's like 30 degrees in there, so it's pretty chilly, but it doesn't feel as bad as you might think. Like it feels like good though. Like you just like, especially how hot it is right now over here at Central Valley. To then being in like, I'm just so grateful where I work at is temperature cooled,
Mm.
so I'm never sweating in there unless I'm like doing manual labor, but I don't do that no more. So now I'm in leadership, so I mostly manage and delegate. While managing and delegating, I was just breezing through the aisles, making sure everybody's okay and like who needs what, and hey, I need you to do this right now, delegating things. I was like, man, I just feel just so thankful. I feel so good, like, because I just remember, just a few months ago, January, when we first started doing this, or last year too, and the times that I've dealt with like moments of struggle, to be at this moment where everything just feels like great. It's like, you know what? It's so easy to tap in and watch all these leadership videos and trying to improve myself. Working out is easier. Going on a run now is easier because I feel good. But then I look back at when I was struggling, I was still doing this. Even I tapped into it more though. Like I was meditating more when I was struggling. I was running more. I was getting myself out of that rut. Like I knew that, oh yeah, there's these things that would help me when I was feeling good, and things that would help me with clarity and bring me peace. So it's about how are you when things aren't going well? Like when you're struggling, like emotionally, maybe physically, I mean mentally and emotionally kind of tie in. When things are like, seems like everything is just coming down, there's health problems within maybe yourself or your family, work, your loved one is now, got into an accident, and like you were just on this like climb, this peak, and now you just go straight down to a downfall. It feels like how are you then? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's, I think that's where your character, like how are you when times get tough, and how do you respond? Because bad things are always going to happen, but it's more like how do you respond to that circumstance and that situation. I think that's what builds character. It's so easy to do all the right things when you feel good,
Mm-hmm.
but can you do the right things when things are going wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what really speaks of who you are. That's where like I like kind of like how you were saying, like I respect that. I want to know that person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to talk to the person that struggles like continuously or in life. I want to talk to that person because that's somebody who I can learn something from, not the person that never struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck am I gonna learn from you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
nothing.
Um, yeah, and that's going back to one of the things that we were talking about earlier. Like, that adversity is going to build character. It's going to build your foundation of you as a person. If something happened and you can't deal with it and you fold, you know what I mean. That's going to define you. You know what I mean. You folded when the pressure was applied. You know what I mean. But if you come out of the other side of it and you don't let it corrupt you, or you don't let it have you too down or too high or too low, pressure makes diamonds. You know what I mean? You'll come out on that other side, stronger person, stronger woman, stronger man. You feel what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. I think about that too. It's like I think we always forget the moments that you struggled with something, and now years go by or months go by, and now you're good at it. Like if you think about it, remember the first time you did a back pedal, and then look at you now with the back pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Like you forget like how you first started. Like you were, you fell back because you were going too fast, or you step on a pothole
Yeah.
behind you, and like you were too high, not low. Like your knees weren't bending, your back wasn't straight. You weren't like, you think about those times and you forget. Like you were once a beginner, and like you once had things that you weren't good at, and now you're like a professional, and like
Yeah.
now you're able to manage your emotions better. You're able to handle yourself good. I think we forget that. I think that's a good a reminder to have with struggle too.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you feeling good, but just remember those times where it was tough and you made it through that. Like, and that's something you could build on. Like when I look at myself at the most hopeless moments that I had in my life, to the moment where I thought like suicidal, and I would be driving, I think about just turning the car and ramming that wall, like, or just let you just take the wheel and see where it goes, like. and having those thoughts, being in that situation, everything's just not going my way, being confused, not knowing who you are, looking in the mirror and just breaking down because you just hated yourself, like, and like you letting yourself be in that situation, to then go get over that one time. For my personal like experience, like getting over it that one time just opened the door. Like, if you can get through this, you can get through anything now. Like, if you can get out of your own way, because it's all in your head. I think people forget too. People try to look for like external like healings. You try to look for a guru that will help you solve it. You look for a doctor that's gonna help you with your mental health. You're looking for all these other things outside, but people don't realize, like, at the end of the day, you're the healer. Like, you get to adapt yourself. Nobody knows you more than you do. At least when it comes to your feeling of like what you feel inside when you eat, or when you think a certain way, or when you handle a situation, when you hear feedback or somebody critiques you. People don't realize, like, you're the healer in your journey. Everything else that's external is just helps you along the journey if you plan and attract correctly what you want to be and what you want to work on. So I think it's just like a beautiful thing that we forget to, like, life is good right now, but remember those moments that build you to where you're at right now. And then when you go through another hurdle, because it's life, it's inevitable. You're going to go through another situation that's going to be right in a similar territory. Life is going to test you. Like, yeah, it's just easy to do shit when you feel good. Like, how do you feel now? How you feel, not the best? Like, that's when you really got to tap into that again.
Exactly. And that goes for every situation. You can't enjoy the sunshine without the rain, So when it comes to that, like you said earlier, like in relationships, you're going to deal with stuff. You guys are going to have some sort of conflict. You guys are going to have some sort of problem, you would say, no matter how big or small. But it doesn't mean you have a bad relationship. Just because you have a bad experience at work doesn't mean the job's shitty. You know what I mean? It's all your perspective and how you deal with these things that are right in front of you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to fold, or are you going to keep pushing? And at the end of the day, majority of the times, when you keep pushing and you grind, you put your head down, you're going to come out on top. It's just a matter of when.
Like, that's one thing I was thinking about too. It's like, that's why I'm so open. I'm honest. And frankly, I feel like that's the best thing to do, is just to be true to you and be open about whatever you're struggling with. Or like, there's gonna be times where you're gonna say something, you have the best intentions, but you just do it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Like, and I have that all the damn time. And my biggest test is the women I'm with. That's like where I learn a lot. That's like when I really want to hear myself, or I want to tap into how I sound. I listen to the woman that I'm with, their response to what I'm saying. I feel like sometimes I come too much I don't want to say an asshole, but I mean well. I just sometimes I get frustrated because something's not being done when I had already, like, I'm the type of person, like, you tell me one time, I'll make sure it's instilled in my head, like, I'm gonna make sure I do this because I've already heard it and I don't want to hear it again. So like, I'm gonna be on it, right? Not everybody's like that, and sometimes maybe the way I said it the first time might not resonate well, and maybe it sounds like I'm maybe enabling somebody to not reciprocate what I'm saying fully, like how important it is to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always, like, I put it on me more than anyone. Mm-hmm. So I look into myself, how can I articulate this better? How can I phrase this in the best way so I can get the right outcome? And like, I always look at YouTube videos on like how to, like, come up with better ways to communicate something, because I know I feel like I'm a good communicator, but I know I can be better. And I will always have that. Even when people tell me I'm a great communicator, like, I just know I'm a good communicator. Mm-hmm. And I could always improve it. So, and I'm open about it. And like, I was struggling with, I think the last podcast I was talking about how I would push my morale and I was impatient with the woman that's in my life. And we had a walk, just me and my lady, a couple of days ago. And I was just seeing, like, we had a conversation on Sunday, like a pretty deep conversation on how I felt that I was being unfair. And she was brutally honest to me. She was like, you know what? So there's times where you just sound like narcissistic in like your responses. And I'm like, damn. I was like, I never heard that before. I never had somebody tell me that. Inside in that moment, I was like, I'm not fucking narcissistic. Like I'm the complete opposite of that. But then I really thought about it, and I was like, well, if she's gonna tell me that my responses makes her feel narcissistic, then that's what I'm doing. And this is somebody who I don't need to be as skeptical with. Like, she's somebody who's like honest with me. So I took that and listened. And I was like, damn, like shit. Maybe I am sometimes being narcissistic. So I had to work on like, you know, looking into myself and seeing like what I can do to then, you know, work on that and be open about it. And then I took some time to like think to myself, go on a run. And I was like, holy crap, this is another same pattern you've dealt with before with all the women in your life. Like, I don't know if it's like abandonment issues, or I don't know if it's something that I just don't know on the top of my head yet. I'm working through this. And then I just think about like, holy crap, I've done this with all the women in my life. Like, after a certain time of being together for a while, it almost becomes like mundane to me, where I start to get too used to them, and I don't like maybe
value them as much.
Maybe you could say I lose respect. And so I thought about that, and I was like, you know, and while thinking about this, she knows this. I've told her while I'm working through this thought on that walk, and I was like, wow, I've been doing this. Like, and I figured out the reason why, at least currently what I think it is that it's all lovey-dovey in the first beginning 3 years or 2 years. But after amount of time you always being with that person too much, you kind of lose track of the things that brought you curiosity of that person. Like, you always, like the first beginning stage, you know, you want to know everything about them. And you're like, you know, like, oh, you know, you're so curious about them that the love is like super high. And I felt that the moment that I didn't take the time to do the things that I wanted to do, like by myself, like go on a run by myself, go work out by myself, go hang out with my friends by myself, go with my family by myself. The moment I stopped doing that and I was just always just me and her, I think I started to normalize her being around too much, that instead of me being curious about what she has to say or like about her life and like me asking questions, it got to the point where I feel like I just know her. And so I'm more analyzing her and trying to help her be better. And I was pushing my strengths onto her because I'm always around her, to the point where it became detrimental now. So now I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I do the things, be in solitude again, like do these things, because it will only strengthen the relationship instead of hurt it. Especially if you're like communicating like, hey, I need this in order for this relationship to work, or else I'm going to keep doing this like narcissistic thing. Yeah. So that's the one thing that I learned, how important space is between partners. Like, you need to have time for yourself, and she needs to have time. You know, you spend time with her family, she spends times with your family, but then you spend time with your family by yourself, and then she spends times with her family, and you know, you guys friends get together, her friends get together with your friends and stuff like that. Like, you need to have that, like that type of relationship to then make the relationship stronger, and
like that happy medium.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I learned. Like, I kind of got away of that.
Yeah.
So and that's why
I commend you for that, because it's hard to take criticism and stuff like that and internalize that and not act out of emotion and not turn into a negative thing. You know what I mean? You analyzed it, you took what she was saying in, you took it serious, and you're like, wow, like you sat back and was like, wow, maybe I am doing that. Maybe I am putting my strengths onto you, you know, and let me actually look at the things she brings to the table rather than what she doesn't. So, you know, that's definitely respectable. That's not an easy thing to do. You know, the average person doesn't do that. And, you know, telling, you know, like, you know, respect on her end for telling you, you know, what you need to hear, not what you wanted to hear. You know, because she could have easily just said, oh, no, it's fine. Like, you're good. Like, oh, I don't want to start an argument. Or you tell her, like, oh, babe, like, actually, no, you're good. Like I just said that out of emotion. But you guys were both honest, open and honest with each other, and you guys both can take criticism. So it was just a happy mesh, happy medium. And going back to what you said about, you know, having your space with your partner, most definitely, bro. You know, too much of anything is gonna be detrimental. You know what I mean? No matter how much you guys like each other. You know, some people need space to breathe. Some people like clingy, some people don't. You know what I mean? So it just all depends on, you know, that instance.
Yeah, I think people forget too. It's like, you were doing all these things, like hanging out with your friends, doing all that, and then you get in a relationship with somebody who's doing the same thing with themselves, and then every so often you guys get together, like every once a week or every twice a week or maybe 3-4 times a month. Like that is like will make it so worthwhile every time you will be together, because you'll be together in the moment because you guys are doing other things, and when you guys experience each other for that one time in that week, whatever, it would just spice it up. Like there's like a curiosity, a desire of wanting to be together. And I think that's why it's so important, like, because I'm the type of person that I love being by myself. I love doing things by myself. I love like running, walking, and even playing like some games sometimes, or I just love being by myself. I think I get a lot of value in that. I think I lost track of doing that, so that's why these certain patterns would like happen naturally. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, now I know what it is, and now I need to make sure that I communicate this without her feeling like, oh, I need my space and I'm trying to be with other women, because that's not it. It's more like, if I want this relationship to work, I need to do this, or else this is not going to work long term.
Facts. No, I definitely understand that, like, especially when it comes to having your own time. Because I know me, like, I'm in my head a lot. And when I'm around people or too many energies, it affects mine. You know what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? Like, if people are trauma dumping or whatever it may be, like, after dealing with all these people or the stories or whatever it may be, I need to get back to myself and get back to whether if I'm meditating or whether if I just need to come sit down and be in my own thoughts. I need to get into my realm and basically flush everything out. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like saying I'm like going in my room and crying and shit, but I need to, like, decompress from everything. And that's most definitely important, bro. Like, I just think, like, in the times in my life where I learned the most about myself or about anything is when I was by myself. You know what I mean? Like, I just know that when you sit in a room by yourself, and whether you're dealing with something or any situation, and you figure out that problem on your own, it just makes you feel 10 times better, bro. It's like, I don't know what about it. It's like an adrenaline rush. Like, damn, like I got through this, like how you got through your depression and your anxieties, or you got through a situation in relationships or stuff like that. And, or maybe it was like, hey, I'm an asshole, right? How am I going to be better to people? Like, how am I going to treat people? I know someone said to me, I forgot who it was. It's like, you're only as good as how you treat people that can't do nothing for you. So if you're treating everybody like shit, or people that, oh, they can't offer me nothing, I'm going to treat them like shit. What does that say about your character and how you are? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I have a hard time doing that too, because sometimes, I think I'm very good at that. Like, definitely offering value. My biggest, I was thinking about this yesterday too, and I kind of got the analogy from Gary Vee, because he wrote a book called Jab, Jab, Hook. And I agree with that philosophy. Like, give more and receive less. Like, give more value to the other people, and then just take a little bit. Like, just take a little bit, but give more value. I think I look at that like is in a business perspective, value perspective, marketplace perspective, relationship. It's like, give more value to the person, product, business, and expect less, and like want less back, or have this thing. It's like a momentum thing, I feel like, because at the end of the day, for myself, I don't really need much. There's things that I desire, that I want, but when in reality, I think about it, I really want like a lot of things to see the other people are around me, to enjoy them. Like, I'm not doing it necessarily for myself. Like, a lot of things, like all my goals, like if you were to dissect all the things that I want, they're all like in the realm of like hospitality. Like, I want the big house just to invite my family and friends over for like events and stuff like that. Then I'm gonna have a nice house where people get married there. Like I want like a house like that, an acre of land, and get my family a home that I could pass down for generations, and like that means a lot. That has, you know, the last name on the gates, and everything is based off like the service of others. That's the thing that I realized within myself is I'm the type of person that wants to give more than receive, because I feel good doing that. It's a selfish thing too. I love giving like stuff out, or like if I have the opportunity to give every single person in my life that's helped me in any way, 10 G's, 50 G's, I'm gonna do it. And like, but you can never ask me for money though. Yeah. That's the one thing that that's the one thing I know that's gonna be like instilled in me. I remember I heard Kevin Hart say something like he has like this one red button with every single family member. Like if you, he has like a one-time thing.
I think I know what you're talking
Go
about.
ahead,
It was like he told everybody that he cares about. He said, "You get one time from me. You can ask for how much ever you want." He's like, "But I'm gonna give it to you one time. You better do something with it. You better start a business. You better make it count. I don't care how much, low or how high." He's like, "If you ask for $20, that's your shot.
Yeah.
If you ask for 50 G's, you better do something with it, because you will never get another dime from me."
And I like that. I think you need to have boundaries. And that's the one thing I learned about life too, is like I'm starting to see the problematic things that a lot of people deal with, especially at work and family, is that nobody sets boundaries.
Yeah.
And you need to, it's all about communication and wording and power phrases that people like end up being in problems within themselves and situations, especially at work. Is like, oh, you allow somebody to talk to you like that, you enable that, is because you don't create a boundary. So when I'm in position, because I know I'm going to be, is like, like I want to be able to give out money on my terms. Like I don't want you to ask for me for money. I think it gets weird. Like, oh, can I have, like, if I didn't have that money, you would have tried to figure it out. But now, like, you think I'm an easy outlet. That's the only thing that's not a fear, but that's something that you need to check.
Yeah.
Like
when it's coming from the heart, it's different. You know what I mean? Like when you genuinely, you see something like, oh, my niece or my sister needs maybe money for gas or money for whatever. It's just, okay, hey, here, like this, like here, like, this is a little change for you. I hope this helps. Yada, yada, yada. But when someone's sitting there begging, it's just like it takes away everything, and it just kind of like hardens your heart for it. You know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes from, like, for me personally, especially when it comes from someone that's never helped you and has seen you in your struggling points. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just a little different. But I always, it's like, I know a couple of podcasts I listen to, it's like, he was talking about women, for instance. He was like, like the less you ask for, the more that you get, and I think that's true in all aspects, especially, on my end. I feel like the ones that don't have to ask or don't beg, like you're going to be taken care of. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, I 100% agree. I feel like I think people ask for stuff and you say no, they forget all the times you say yes. So it's like there's like the little bit of a feeling of like entitlement that you hear from somebody. They're like, "Oh, can I have this?" Like, and you say no. You're like, "Well, you got money though. Like, I'm your family." Or like, but like, what the fuck? Like, I don't give a fuck if you were my dad. Like, what the hell? Even my dad can't say that shit, because I don't owe you shit. I don't care who you are. I don't care if I came from your nutsack. I don't care if you birthed me. Like, you ever feel entitled? Like, you think I'm gonna want to do it because you're this to me? Like, fuck out of here. Like, you ain't getting shit. So I do believe that too. Like, I mean that shit, bro. I am ruthless when I come to like stuff that don't fit well with my soul. Like, I'm super passionate about saying hell no and letting you drown.
And do you
really.
listen?
Take that back.
Do you listen to your intuition when it comes to that? Like, when you get that feeling, because I go off of like that first initial like thought. So whenever it's a situation, say a situation, I just notice, and I kind of like, whether if it's like with money or anything, situation, relationship, and you kind of sit back and you see everything unfold, and that first initial like feeling like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, this don't sit right with me. I don't like how that transpired. Or even business, like in a couple business decisions that I made, I had numbers thrown at me and it rubbed me wrong off the rip, and I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know, but I remember I came and talked to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I just remember the first thing that you said is like, it's like, yeah, if you don't know someone, they're throwing out numbers on that end, it's like, I would sit back and really evaluate and have like a full interview with like what their intentions is, because you don't want to go into business with somebody who's, you know, at the end of the day trying to fill their pockets. You know what I mean? So do you go off of that initial instinct of your intuition?
I believe in like trusting my gut, like 100%. Everything I've done in my life is trusting my gut. And sometimes like you have to learn the hard way by not trusting it to then be like, fuck, I knew I was right. Like shit. Like that's how I feel. I remember there was like this walk that we had. I think we had like a good conversation the first time about the podcast. We like walked around Woodward. It was like me and you. Yeah. It was like this long walk.
Oh yeah.
Remember that time I was telling you, like, this is the reason why I like to make mistakes, like, by trusting my gut. Because if I go off of what you give as a solution or advice, and I had something also that I wanted to do, but I'm like, you know what, I'll try yours. And then I try yours, and then it's wrong. I'm going to blame you for it. Like, fuck, I should have never fucking listened to fucking John Doe over there. Like, I should have trusted my gut. And then let's say I do the thing that I was thinking originally, and then it works out. I'm like, this is what you get, like, for not trusting yourself.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather trust myself because I'd rather make the mistake to then learn from it quicker than to, like, make a mistake based off a decision that I made from somebody else that came up with it and I just followed it because I just was scared to trust myself. And I was willing to trust somebody who I thought knew. And then I do their advice and then end up being wrong. And then I judge them and make an excuse. And I don't want to be in that world. But I'm able to now be like, you know what, like I trusted their word and it didn't work out. It's not their fault. You know, I trusted their word. They had good intentions, but it didn't work out. I'm able to do that now. But my intuition is what I think has survived me. Like there's always that little like feeling that you just get. Like you're just like, maybe I'm not trying to go out tonight. It doesn't feel well, feels forced. Or when something feels forced, I don't do it. Or if I feel limited or if I feel like in a box, my intuition tells me like this is you're getting into somewhere where you're not going to be happy in the long run. So I try to think macro instead of micro, like focusing on like the bigger picture. So like trusting myself and giving myself the benefit of the doubt. And if I make a mistake, be open to it. Like I'm open to make a mistake. I actually want to fuck up. Like I actually want to trust myself. And if like my thing is fuck it. Is that fuck it? Like go through that like process of making decisions and hopefully it goes my way. And if not, then I'll adapt.
Yeah, facts. And you know, one of the last questions that I did want to ask you, on terms of, you know, trusting your instinct, trusting your gut when it comes to making decisions in your life and, you know, wanting to obviously be that light for, you know, other people and you obviously wanting to help other people. What do you feel like is the biggest thing that helps you in being you, helps you in being Juan Moreno?
I feel like being who I always wanted to be. I think some people don't know who they want to be. Like people will be like, you know, I don't know who I am. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I was like, first and this is what I had to work through, which took me years. Even though I'm 26, when other people hear me say that, they're like, you're only 26. Like, but I was conscious like at 16 and I felt like I didn't know what the hell I was doing or I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I knew who I wanted to be because I was struggling with certain things. Like, let's say I struggle with articulating my feelings or communicating and not being a leader. And so I was running into walls and situations that would cause me to, you know, have arguments because I didn't know how to articulate myself. So it registered in my head, the reason why you're arguing is because you don't know how to articulate yourself and put your foot down and in a respectful way that people respect you for it. And you're not leading by example. So that's why people don't respect you. You're saying this, but then you're doing this. Mm-hmm. So I think people forget that you have to try things to know what you want to do with your life. So you can sit here and fucking think all day, like strategize all day and try to plan a lot. But at the end of the day, you will never figure out by thinking. You figure out by doing. So like you need to try shit. Like for me, try the jujitsu, try the yoga, try the running, try this book, try this job, try this field, try this thinking process, try how to articulate yourself this way, try these phrases, try like be practical. I think because then that gives you now an open window of you being like on the field to see, you know what, maybe this is actually what I want to do. I want to help people because I've struggled. So like I know what I've been through, and I know a lot of people go through the same thing. So like I think not having a vision board or a list, or maybe in the back of your mind or on your cell phone, or the things that you search, that things that you watch, books that you read, self-help books on things or characteristics of like who you want to be. If you don't have that, then you'll never really know what you want to do if you don't try things. And if you don't have a list of, I want to be a leader. What's a leader? A leader is a good communicator, respected, leads by example, powerful, purposeful with their words, their intentions, manifesting, putting in the work, like having people follow you and creating a vision that anybody can see and creating a team around you. Like, and that's one thing I'm still working through is the team thing too, because I think I'm a lone wolf that I think having a team would benefit me well. And it's for me it's a necessity, which I need to figure out the team aspect, which I still am right now, and I'll figure it out. It's inevitable. But I think if you don't have a vision of who you want to be, and if you're not trying things, I think that's what's holding you back.
Yeah. Amen. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I appreciate you guys all for tapping in with us. You know, we're continually growing, and, you know, honestly, bro, I see at the end of the year, bro, we'll probably be at 10K on the TikTok for real. IG, we'll probably be in the 5K because, like, you guys are amazing. You guys are supporting us. You guys are reposting our stuff. You guys are showing love consistently every episode. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next episode on Self Revelations.
Sheesh.